Welcome to the May 2026 monthly meeting of the Miami Condo Investing Club. This is a virtual meeting that is broadcast live at 4 p.m. South Florida time on the second Wednesday of every month. A recording of the monthly meeting will be available for on-demand viewing at miamicondo.club. This podcast is hosted by Peter Zalewski, a condo consultant, expert witness, and the founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. The purpose of the monthly meetings is to share real-time, actionable information about the South Florida condo market with club members. If you are not yet a member of the club, we would encourage you to consider joining at Miami Condo Club. The club's mission is to foster a community that shares real-time, actionable intelligence on the latest real estate trends, emerging opportunities, and trusted service providers throughout South Florida. Whether you're a do-it-yourself, DIY condo buyer, or a seasoned real estate professional, the club provides invaluable resources, including up-to-date statistics, expert analysis, and access to tailored consulting services. An added benefit of the club is that members will receive access to the new condo ratings agency that will begin evaluating the financial conditions of individual condo projects in the Tri-County South Florida region of Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Welcome to the May 2026 monthly virtual meeting.
Welcome to the May 2026 monthly meeting of Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I want to thank you for being a member. I want to thank you for tuning in. We got a lot to deal with today. I hope you are sitting down, and if you aren't used to watching our monthly meetings on demand, this is one you're going to want to save. This is one you need to bookmark. This is one you need to watch probably 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Actually, I actually run a book called Bubble in the Sun 7 times, and I'll probably start it again. If you guys are looking for some summer reading, that is the book to put on your radar. Bubble in the Sun, Christopher Knowlton. Follow that up with 1929 by Andrew Ross Sorkin. Guy from CNBC, New York Times columnist. He wrote a piece. You want to get a sense of where we're going right now in this economy? Let's look back to what happened 100 years ago, but that is a different story. Thank you for coming for the monthly meeting. As you notice, brand new time this time around. For 2 straight years, we were doing a monthly meeting at noon on the second Wednesday of every month. We're still doing it on the second Wednesday of every month, but we moved it to 4 o'clock. Why? To fit in that 4 o'clock time zone, that time slot. Every weekday at 4 o'clock, we are doing a live podcast. And now what we did on Wednesdays, on that second Wednesday of the month, when I do the monthly meeting, we're going to go ahead and do it at 4 o'clock. This way, it's across the board. The idea is to try to make the information readily available to you at a regular time so you can count on it. Also, too, it alleviates one show per week for me. Been doing it for a little bit over 6 months now, rocking and rolling every single day. Mondays, Miami Condo Mondays. I do it with my partner, Jenny Hortis, over at CVR Realty. Check out our website, cvrrealty.com. Tuesdays, we're talking about the South Florida Condo Association Financial Clip Index. We do it Miami Condo Exchange, 4 o'clock on Tuesdays. Wednesday, I do the Peter Zalewski Show, where I introduce you to somebody I think is important, somebody you need to know, someone needs to be on your radar. Thursday, we're talking distressed condo market with a program called Condo Capitalism. And now on Fridays, we're going to be doing the Condo Rating Agency. We're going to be talking about what's going on in our initiative, our effort for the summer buying season, which goes from May through, October, May through October, as a summer buying season. We are going to be building out finally after 15 years in the works, actually 16 years. We're going to start rating condo associations based on economic feasibility, financial stability, viability, all of it, sustainability. You come up with an ability and we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead. We're going to look at all these condo associations, somewhere in the ballpark of 13,000 associations, 610,000 units. We're going to be going ahead. We're going to analyze them. Are they economically sound? And if they're not, we're going to give them a bad rating. If they are, we're going to give them a higher rating. Wall Street, you know what they do? They rate stocks. They rate bonds. They rate municipal bonds. They rate it all. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be applying a standard to these different various condo associations. We'll be starting off with a smaller group, and then we will grow and we will grow and we will grow. This is not something that's going to be updated regularly. Well, excuse me, not updated daily. It'll be updated regularly. Probably be looking at quarterly, maybe twice a year, something like that, unless there's some sort of material change, something kind of big thing that'll go on. And then we'll have to issue a report, whether we were upgrading, we were downgrading, or we're taking another look and we're reconsidering. The idea is to help you when you go into a property, whether, and say you're buying a condo, you typically get an appraisal, you will get an inspection, and we want you to get a rating. We want you to understand what you're getting into when you get in that particular condo association. We'll have the ability to compare apples to apples. So that's what the summer's all about. Because of that, what we have done is we put the meetups, they were going on the third Tuesday of every month. We put them on hold. Too much effort, too much time in order to try to get this right. There are some groups that are probably moving to space. What they're going to do is they're simply going to rely on AI or something else and try to blow it out real quick. It may or may not be accurate. We're going to grind its way through. Something we've been in the works for is back in 2010. I had a banker. I was having lunch with him over on Brickell Avenue when I was rocking and rolling with the Condo Vultures play. And he told me we need a way to evaluate these condo associations for those loans in which we are portfolioing the loan for the unit. We don't know what to do. It's all we got is the condo questionnaire. We tried to do it. We couldn't do it because we were advised by legal that ultimately we might get sued for interfering with commerce. Well, times are changed. Times have changed. Times will change. And what changed it all? Surfside condo collapse back in June of 2021. If you guys can believe that. We're coming out 5 years since nearly 100 people died. $1 billion settlement was paid out to families of victims. World's changed. Florida legislature made all kinds of changes. It's all about transparency. They want people getting information about condo association. They also want inspections done. They want licensed architects. They want licensed engineers going in there every 10 years, evaluating the building. At year 30, they want them to do a big inspection called a milestone inspection. So everything has changed. You know what else has changed? Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae, it's a secondary market. That's the group that goes ahead and buys all of the mortgages. When you go to a bank and a bank gives you a loan, you think the bank's going to sit on that loan? No. They're going to take it and they're going to sell it to Fannie Mae. Why? Because they can only lend based on how much money, how many assets or how many deposits they have. So what do? They sell it off. They collect all the junk fees. Fannie Mae takes it on and they do what they do. Fannie Mae has announced they're changing it all for condo associations. Your maintenance fees, if you're living in a condo association, they are going up January the 1st. And if they don't go up January 1st, you know what that means? Your condo is not financeable. If Fannie Mae is not willing to finance a condo, therefore the only buyers are all cash who want deals or individuals who are buying with private money. Big changes occurring, big changes, special assessments coming for, not special assessments, but increased maintenance fees coming across the board for everybody in 2027. You know, it's kind of interesting. I'm looking at some of this Fannie Mae stuff and we'll get in some of the details. If you guys have ever paid attention or heard about what goes on in California, when you buy gasoline in California, it's typically, I don't know, $1, $2, $3 more per gallon than what you're going to find here in, say, maybe South Florida. One of the reasons is that they require a certain type of refining of the fuel in order to eliminate the smog, eliminate some of the issues that are going on, all environmental. And when you go to buy California there, buy gas there in California, it's different standards. Therefore, it's much more expensive besides what else they're doing. For what's going on with these condo associations, Fannie Mae is forcing the rest of the country to adopt the Florida standard, the Florida way for financing. So rather than saying, hey, Florida, you know, you're unique, you're doing what you're doing, they're forcing, Fannie Mae is going to be forcing all of the other states, all of the people living in condos throughout the country, they're all going to have to adopt certain policies related to what is going on in Florida. But I will be doing podcasts with that in the very near future. We're going to get the people on who are doing the financing, who understand the details. They're going to lay it all out for you so you can understand it. But I want you to know, in the end of the year, come January, there's going to be big changes, and we got another big change coming with Fannie Mae. That coming in August. We're talking about 3 months away or so. But I'm going to get into all those details. We'll be talking about that. Let's go ahead. We'll get started for a meeting. I know I got you for an hour. If I go overboard, I want everybody to realize I respect your time. And what I want you to do is realize that this thing will be available on demand. I will have it up by Friday, which will be May the 15th. I'm going to try to get it done as soon as we're done with this podcast, which should be roughly about 5 o'clock or so. One of the initiatives for the summer, we've eliminated the articles we're writing with our podcast. We're giving you basically 10 takeaways, the 10 key takeaways from a podcast. We're giving you a timeline so you can go forward. You can watch the videos as you sort of see fit, kind of looking for the subjects you want. And what are those videos? Those are the videos I do every weekday at 4 o'clock. So as a result of that, that's saving me some time. So the processing period is, it's turning out to be much quicker. We're striving for a half an hour after podcast ends to be able to have it up. Thus far, it's been about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. Depends on whether or not I have any kind of issues related to the technical side of it. What are the technical side issues? Well, we do editing for sound. We do editing maybe for template, for look. Short of that, we should be able to process it relatively quickly. So if you guys are looking at information on condos, you're going to be able to get it every weekday. We go live at 4 o'clock. The goal was to turn it around in a half an hour. So if we went from 4 to 5, we would turn it around by 5:30. That looks like it might be a little bit of a challenge, at least in the interim, because we're just getting started. So I would tell you by 6 o'clock is probably what we're going to be shooting for. Hopefully we can get it there. And if we can make it even sooner, we would love to do that. The idea is to bring you this condo information day in and day out so you can play the game. Doesn't matter if you're a DIY buyer doing it alone. Doesn't matter if you're a buyer who's working with a broker. You could be a listing agent. You can't sell your condo. You can't figure out why the hell you can't sell it. Maybe the club can help you out. You could be a lender. Maybe you're somebody putting money on the street. You're not necessarily sure what the situation is. Not someone else's money, but your own money. We could be a good resource, could be a regulator. Maybe you're a regulator, you're up in Tallahassee, you're in Orlando, you're in Washington trying to figure out what's going on in the condo market. Join the club. And then finally, gadfly. We love gadflies. You're somebody who just wants to suck in the information. Come on in and check it all out. AI will only get you so far with us. How do I know that? Well, one of the things we're realizing and doing some of our analysis coming in the summer, we are realizing that there are a lot of private equity groups and hedge fund types. They're going out and they're raising money based on, guess what? Our information, what they're seeing going on in the marketplace. And as a result of that, when I start showing you charts going forward, charts going to be a little bit more messy. We're going to have a watermark in there to try to throw off some of the AI hustles that are out there. But rest assured, our information is here. Because you're a club member, you're going to get access to all of the information. Again, we want to thank you all for being club members. So I've been babbling for about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead. Let's kind of move real fast because I got a lot to cover. We're talking about what happened in the winter buying season, that period from November of 2025 through April of 2026. We got the numbers. We're showing you how every county performed. I can tell you overall, sales up, prices down. We're seeing a crack in pricing. We've been telling you guys the crack is coming. It is here. It went down. Prices went down across the board. Price per square foot, even on luxury condos. Remember luxury condos? Oh my God, everybody's coming here. We got FOMO. We got Mark Zuckerberg of Google. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. He probably wishes he owned Google. We got Larry Page of Google. Now we got the latest Alex Karp from Palantir. They're coming here. Ken Griffin. We got them all. Jeff Bezos, Amazon. We got them all. You know what? They're not doing anything for condos. If anything, condo prices are falling. Why is that? Well, we'll get into some of the details shortly. So we're going to talk about what happened in the winter buying season. We're going to give you pricing. We're going to show you charts. We're going to go back 20 years, going back to the winter buying season of 2005, 2006, which was the lead up right before Lehman Brothers went bad, and then it all kind of unraveled. You guys will be able to see all those statistics. By the way, if you do want to see any of the statistics, I sent everybody in the invitation for this particular meeting. I sent you a link. Click on that link, go to the bottom, and you are going to see all of the charts we're going to be referencing so you guys can get your hands on it. You can study it. You can review it. You go through whatever it is you want to do with that sort of that information. But that is going to give you an outlook. It's going to give you perspective. It's going to give you context on what this market's all about. And then near the end of my conversation, well, I should mention, we're going to talk about the South Florida Condo Association Financial Cliff Index. The index has been a ringer. We started noticing stuff, and lo and behold, once the end of the quarters come, what we're finding is the real estate industry, they're starting to acknowledge, oh, wow, something's going on there. We saw it. Why? Because we track the index week over week over week. We're looking at active listings. We're looking at pending sales. We've since added pricing. We're letting you know what's going on in pricing. By the way, the asking price is coming down as we get into the summer buying season. Remember, summer's heat, humidity, hurricane warnings, and the only people on the street here, these are the people looking for a deal. These are the people looking for a discount. These are the people using data. All the casual buyers, they're not thinking about coming to South Florida, especially now as it's starting to get ramped up. The rains are coming. And where are they going? They're going to the Hamptons. They're going to Asheville, North Carolina, the mountains of North Carolina. They're going to Europe. They're going to Canada. They're not coming down here. So your buying pool, if you are a seller, it's getting kind of tight, and it's probably going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And then you throw in what's coming on with Fannie Mae. Some of the references I mentioned, and I'll get in some of the details. It's turning into a real interesting time if you are a condo buyer, especially if you have all cash. Sellers, they're on the wrong side of the trade for this particular one. And I'll lay out my scenario ultimately at the end of the monthly meeting. One other thing I will tell you, we're going to show you the rankings for the overall market, and then we'll show you the rankings for the vintage market. And this is based on our index. And basically, If it's a high ranking, that means you got a better chance as a seller. And if it's a low ranking, that means that's where you ought to be playing if you're a buyer. And I'm going to kind of cut ahead, and I'll tell you the worst market in all the land. Fisher Island. Nobody's doing anything in Fisher Island. So if you guys are hearing hoopla, if you're hearing ballyhoo, if you're hearing hyperbole about Fisher Island, nonsense. Take a look at the numbers, and they are not good in Fisher Island. Best market, Little Havana in Miami. Miami's Little Havana is doing very well. Why? Just like we told you before, overflow. Everybody coming from greater downtown Miami, they think the prices are too expensive. Maybe they don't particularly like the lifestyle, the congestion. They're all going on the other side of Interstate 95, and they're going into Little Havana. But we'll lay it all out. We'll show you market by market by market. You guys are going to all get a ranking. You'll be able to check it all out. So let's go ahead. Let's start sharing the screen. I'm going to use the screen basically as my my guide because, as you know, I tend to talk and I can go on and on and on. So this way, we'll keep it focused, and I'm looking at the clock to make sure I get this thing done in an hour. Therefore, I can process it quickly and deliver to you, hopefully within an hour after that. So let's go ahead. We're going to share the screen, and we will get rocking and rolling here. There we go. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into the club monthly meeting. Thanks again for being a member. We much appreciated it. All of you who are new to the club, well, I want to welcome you. I want to let you know that I was a former journalist. I was doing it for 13 years. I left. I set up a company called Condo Vultures. Basically, Condo Vultures was all about using data, same way I used it as a journalist, and going ahead and taking advantage of a downturn. We had some real success during those vulture days, which went basically from 2006 through about 2010, 2011 or so. Then at that point, we set up another company or another entity. We had something called Crane Spotters. Crane Spotters was tracking all the new construction. What I'm trying to tell you is we've been tracking data in this town going back over 30 years. So if you don't know who I am, you don't know anything about us, what I will tell you, you're not going to get Chamber of Commerce talk here. You are not getting sell-side talk here. You're going to get straightforward information, same type of information I tell Wall Street. Wall Street calls me to do something. This is what I tell them. Same thing I tell people, or I tell maybe an attorney when I'm sitting on a witness stand and I'm an expert witness. I'm giving you guys the same straight information. We believe that transparency is the key. If you got information out there in the marketplace, it doesn't matter what the conditions are, there's always a trade involved. I take a mentality of looking at the market as if I am a trader or a short seller, maybe in some capacity. Let me give you guys a big picture before I start into the thing, just for our new members. Back in the day, you used to buy stocks the way you did it, or commodities or anything like that, contracts. What you would do is you would have a broker. You would call your broker your particular order. That broker would call down to the floor. They had trading pits. They had these octagonal shaped pits, especially in Chicago where I grew up. And what you would see at these trading pits is people would be dressed up in, they'd have a jacket on, they'd have a badge. Some of the jackets were a little bit different colors. They had different designs, so you would remember who the people were. So if you wanted to trade, what you would do is you would call your broker. Your broker would get the order down to the floor. Person on the floor answering the phone, they would take it, they would write it up, they'd give it to a runner. The runner would take it from that post. They take it over to the trading pit, and then hands out was selling, hands in was buying, and that's how things got done. Fast forward to today, when you're buying a stock or you're buying anything else, you're doing it on an app. Most likely you're using your computer. Robinhood, Charles Schwab, Interactive Brokers, whatever you're doing. You're doing it online now. You're not really having that personal contact. So why do I bring this up? Because those trading pits, where they used to move commodities, they used to move stocks. They still do it sometimes, like at an IPO or things like that. But those trading pits, that area where it's just chaos and bedlam and price discovery, that's how I see the condo market in South Florida, especially if you're east of Interstate 95. I see east of Interstate 95 as a large trading pit with speculators. You heard me, speculators. Not investors, speculators. These are people going in, they're trying to buy low and they're trying to sell high. Inevitably, they do the opposite, and it doesn't end well for them. And one of the reasons it doesn't end well is they're not getting good information. A lot of the information they're getting coming from people whose job is to jack up the pricing. The sell side people want to get the highest and best. You know who else wants the highest and best price? That is going to be the city. That's going to be the county. That's going to be the school board. Why? Because they collect a 2% property tax. They divvy it up, school, county, and city, divvy it up, and that's how they fill their coffers. So the higher the price, the more money they got to go ahead and fund the, repair of potholes, pay for the police officers, pay for not the teachers, maybe the teachers, but that's how they do it. So everybody's in the game to get a higher and higher price. We look at it as if a condo is a commodity. We look at it as if it ought to trade just like oil trades. just like coffee trades, orange juice, pork bellies, and salty snacks. We say it's nothing more than rebar, glass, and cement. Maybe add some marketing on it. Maybe let's throw a brand on there. We get some luxury brand, and all of a sudden people are going to pay a premium for it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it is a commodity, and that's the way we view the market. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, and you haven't seen me speak before, this is how my mentality, this is my investor mentality, this is my buy-side mentality. And if you're on the sell side, this is probably very good insight for you as to what you're probably up against as we get deep into this current situation where sales are going up and prices are coming down. Now you say, well, how does that necessarily work? Well, what's happening is you got a lot of buyers sitting on the sidelines. And buyers sitting on the sidelines, they're not going in unless the price is right. They don't have the same FOMO. They want to get a place, but they don't have the same FOMO. Now, these buyers who are coming in, they run the risk of catching a falling knife. That's an old cliche. You drop the knife, you reach out, you cut your hand. That's the risk some of these buyers are facing. But, they're going in, they're doing what they're doing. We called for in January 2025 a 40% price drop. What do we get in Broward County winter? 8%. Year over year, 8% drop in pricing. A lot of people say I'm crazy on that 40% call. Ooh, it's just beginning. And Fannie Mae, their decisions, their announcements, their changes are only going to probably contribute to me being closer to being right than anyone else out there in the marketplace. At least that's the stand I am taking, and that's the hill I will die on if, lo and behold, it goes wrong. But I'm very confident kind of where we are right there. So Miami Condo Investing Club, thank you for being a member. We started back in 2024. The idea is create a community for those people who are interested in condos. We collect information, we share it with you, make it readily available. We do these monthly meetings, and soon we will be sharing with you access to our condo ratings agency, where we're going to be rating condo associations based on economic stability, economic feasibility, financial viability. We're going to be looking at all that, and that'll be a really good resource for you. So as that evolves, it should get interesting. But let's continue on.